So I often get questions about what cameras I use, what lenses I use, and other questions about like my gear in general. So I thought, why not make a video breaking down everything that I use to film? So I'm gonna break it down in a couple of categories: cameras, lenses, lighting, audio, accessories, and some examples of fully built rigs. So first off is my main video camera that I use for a lot of the videos that I shoot. The FX3. I have two amazing video cameras, so I don't use it for every single video. I'm not gonna get into the technical aspects in this video, but this camera is very lightweight. For it to be a cinema line camera from Sony, it's actually in a very small form factor, and that helps with carrying it around compared to something like the FX6 or the FX9, which would be overkill for what I do. But of course it has amazing picture quality. It's a full frame camera. Now this is one of Sony's more expensive cameras. Like, again, it's a cinema line camera, so for the work that I do, I found that it was a great investment, and just having it to use for personal work is a plus. I've been able to do everything from professional interview setups to vlogging to running gun, like action shots, all with this camera. Now, my secondary camera is the Sony A7 IV. I've had this camera for about over a year and a half now. It was my first Sony camera, and it was so good that I fell in love with Sony. The colors, the menu system, all of that. So this is one of the best hybrid cameras like ever. It's amazing at photo, it's amazing at video. I wouldn't be sacrificing that much video quality if I took this instead of my FX3. Honestly, the only reason I would take my FX3 with me is if I want some shots that are 4K 120 frames per second, which this can't shoot, and 4K 60 is crop on this camera, which I barely use 4K 60 anyway. I mainly shoot everything in 24 frames unless I'm trying to get like a specific type of shot. Honestly, for like an everyday kind of take with you anywhere camera, you could take this with you, because if you want some photos, it's excellent at that. If you want some videos, it's also excellent at that. Now let's get into some of the film cameras that I have. First up, I have this Minolta XGM 35mm SLR film camera. So I found this at a thrift store a couple years ago, maybe 2022. It was like $20. So I picked it up, and this is actually the camera that I started film photography with. It's kind of broken. The light meter inside doesn't work. Honestly, probably cop another SLR camera, but this is a great camera to learn the basics of manual photography. So controlling the ISO, controlling the f-stop, controlling the focus, all manually. That's what film photography is great at, is forcing you to be very intentional about every shot that you take, especially with these manual cameras. My next film camera is my Olympus Stylus Epic Zoom 80. I made a video on both of these cameras actually. Very small, you could literally slip this in your pocket. I got some nice film shots out of these. I haven't used them much as recently because I've mainly been shooting video. As much as I love film, it's just way too costly to be like my main type of photography. But yeah, this is like the smallest camera that I have, smaller than my hand. I'm now seeing like these cameras, this one and the Minolta was made in Japan. I'm kind of mad at myself now that I didn't buy any like film cameras in Japan. Out of all of the stuff that I bought, I actually went to a couple of camera stores and just didn't buy anything. Next time for sure. Last but not least is this Canon camcorder, the Vixia HD camcorder. I use this from time to time when I want to get like some early 2000s, maybe vintage VHS kind of videos. It's not going to be like a VHS video, but it's going to have like the same quality without going through the trouble of actually getting a VHS camera and trying to set all of those things up. A lot of moving parts that you got to get for that. It's a nice little camcorder that I have for some like behind the scenes stuff, and just to get like a different aesthetic and style from the super sharp and clear like FX3 videos. Now, lenses. This part won't be that long because I actually just made a video on the two lenses that I use for both of my Sony cameras. So I'll go over them quickly here. First up is the Sigma 24-70 version 2. The 24-70 covers, again, a wide range of different focal lengths. For what I shoot personally, it covers everything. And then next up is the Sony 16-25G lens, which is my wide angle lens of choice. Super small, lightweight, easy to travel with, easy to vlog with, great on gimbals. Again, I'm not gonna go that much in depth. If you wanna know a little bit more about the lenses, I made a full video. It's actually my previous video if you wanna check that out. Now let's get into one of the most important parts of having great photos and videos, and that's lighting. Now, if you forget about all of the gear that I mentioned up until this point and you have amazing lighting, you can get something similar, if not, well, not better, but you can get like a similar look with not as expensive camera gear, as long as your lighting is correct. So first off, for photography, I have this Godox AD200 Pro. It's a small but powerful flash that's great indoors, of course, and it's also great outdoors at night and when the sun is out. There are more powerful flashes out there, but I find that this is good enough for what I do. If I ever need a second flash, I can just pick up a second one of these, to be honest. It's that powerful. The small form factor makes it easy to travel with. So I either connect this AD200 to a light stand with a softbox, or I use it handheld with this diffusion dome piece. Now, next up is my AMARAN 300C. It's a nice and powerful light that has the option of RGB colors, as well as your regular warm and cool temperature light. Now, another important part of video that is usually underrated is audio. Right now you can see that I'm using a microphone. This microphone is the Audio-Technica AT2020 USB plus mic, and I currently have this mic plugged in to my camera. So I use this mic when I'm doing talking head videos, as I'm doing now. If I'm doing voiceovers, Rode VideoMic NTG. This is a shotgun mic that I mainly use when I'm in a controlled environment in terms of sound, and I don't necessarily have to worry about noise. I can use this. I've used this for interview setups when I didn't have lav mics. The second pair of mics that I have are the DJI Mic 2s, which I actually recently just picked these up, and I've been testing them out recently. I've been meaning to get these for a couple months now because sometimes the shotgun mic doesn't do the job when you're outside, especially in New York City. There's a lot of noise going on. This is the best way to get someone's voice without noise, is to move the mic closer to them. And the best way to do that, I found, is to have like a lav mic or a wireless mic, which these DJI 2s are. I've been testing them out. The noise cancellation is cool. There's some other great features that they have. I haven't gotten a chance to go through all of them because I literally just got them. So let's go over storage. I forgot to mention this in the intro, but after you shoot all of these photos and videos, you need somewhere to put them. And I have a couple of external hard drives and solid state drives that I use in my workflow for different reasons. I'm gonna make a whole separate video about that, kind of breaking that all down. But here's like a quick overview. So first up are solid state drives, or SSDs. These are great to work off of because they have faster write and read speeds, meaning it loads your photos and videos faster in your programs so you don't have to wait. Transfer speeds are faster, so transferring from your SD card to these SSDs are faster than if it was on a hard drive. And they're smaller and more portable than most hard drives. So these are ideal to edit videos, edit photos off of. Then we have hard drives. I have two Lacy external hard drives. These are mainly for backup. This one, 2 terabytes, is to back up all of the current projects that I'm working on. This one, 5 terabytes, which probably isn't enough, is to back up all of the projects that I'm working on that year. And I have a third on my desk, this Western Digital Tower. This one is 18 terabytes, and this is the main archive where basically everything goes. This 18 terabyte hard drive has all of my stuff going back to the year 2019. And don't worry, to make sure that this is safe, hopefully it doesn't, but whenever it fails or is corrupted, I have this backup automatically to Backblaze, which is like this online cloud storage thing. Way cheaper than it would be on like Dropbox or Google Drive. So now let's get into the accessories that I use. Let's start off with SD cards. Now for my Sony FX3, I'm using these Lexar Professional V90 SD cards that are 120 gigabytes each. I have 2 of them. I specifically needed V90 SD cards to be able to use the 120 frames per second on the FX3. It was either these or a CF Express A card, which is very expensive. And Sony A7 IV, I have the same brand, but they are V60 cards. So they're a little cheaper, and I don't need the V90 cards on my A7 IV since it doesn't have 120 frames per second. Some more accessories. I have a bunch of extra batteries for the A7 IV and the FX3 since they use the same battery. Two filters that I use the most are this K&F Concept variable ND filter and this Cine Bloom 10% filter that's sort of like a Pro Mist filter, but not as strong. It gives like the Pro Mist look to lights. It's not too much to where it's super noticeable. Now, I have this small mini tripod here with me. This is great for when I'm vlogging or if I'm in like a small area, like a cafe or something, and I kind of want to pull my camera out, but I don't want to pull out my full tripod. So it's nice if you want to like be discreet. And the main tripod that I use is the Peak Design travel tripod. I got the aluminum one because it was cheaper. It's not that bad in terms of the weight, but if you do have the extra money, get the aluminum one because that one felt like a feather when I was holding it up. I do love how easy it is to take with me when I'm traveling. I took this to many different cities. It's easy to break down and open up. This here is the SmallRig VB99 mini V-mount battery. I use this on my FX3 rig. It gives me a good amount of shooting time, but I'll go over it a little bit more once I show you the rig. So this here is my FX3 rig. A lot going on here, so I'm gonna break it down. So at the base, we have the Sony FX3 with a SmallRig cage on it with the Sigma 24-70 lens. For the microphone, we have the Rode VideoMic NTG shotgun mic. And on top, we have the FieldWorld 4K high bright video monitor. And on the back, we have the SmallRig VB99 mini V-mount battery powering the camera and the monitor. So I use this rig either handheld or set up on a tripod, depending on what type of shoot it is. The monitor makes it easy to see what is in focus. If I'm over or underexposed, the battery gives me a longer duration of shoot time. And the top handle from SmallRig also serves as another place to hold the camera. And last but not least is my DJI Ronin RS2 Pro gimbal. I use this to get smooth shots, and it's best paired with the FX3 and the 16-25 G lens. Super lightweight. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all of my gear for the most part. Let me know if this video was helpful in any way, if you guys like breakdown videos like this. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.